Welcome back to Amerisogyny. I'm your host, Anna Blue. You're listening to episode 89, Out with the Old and In with the New. Now, this is going to be a very short episode, but I just wanted to come back and say I missed you guys. And before we get started, let me give a shout out to the countries that have been showing us love while I've been gone. Ireland, Hong Kong, Japan, and Finland. I thank you guys for tuning in and rocking with me, even when I'm not recording. Now, it might not be for you, but today is New Year's Eve, the last day of 2025. So we're going to keep this episode festive and light. Well, somewhat light. Now, if you've seen the documentary about Sean Diddy Combs, you know nothing about that was light. It was produced by 50 Cent, and the two moguls have a long history of beef. The 4-part series is on Netflix, and it's called Sean Combs, The Reckoning. I'm not going to ruin it for you in case you haven't watched it, but I'll say this. I've never seen so many people work for one man and not be paid. There is no way that I'm going to work for anybody and I'm not getting my money. Now, how did their beef get started? Well, it goes back to 2006 when 50 Cent released a diss track called The Bomb. And there were some allegations that Diddy knew who killed the rapper Notorious B.I.G. Big was Diddy's protege, and might I say his biggest moneymaker. Biggie was shot and killed in Los Angeles in March of 1997 while traveling with Combs. Ironically, Diddy was in another vehicle when Biggie got shot. The case remains unsolved to this day. Now, Diddy Combs has denied he knows anything about the incident, but the documentary brought some very sketchy details to light. There are also allegations that Diddy is responsible for the murder of Tupac. And let me tell you, I've always believed he was behind it because he was jealous. And there's nothing worse than a jealous Negro. Diddy is good at a lot of things. And one of them, lying. In 2018, he was on The Breakfast Club and said, I don't have no beef with Fifth. He loves me. Y'all can't see that he loves me? You really think that's hate? You know he loves me. No, we didn't know that was true because here's the truth. 50 Cent hated Diddy then and he hates him now. But like I said, you need to watch it for yourself and draw your own conclusion. Now we're going to move on from that and take another little detour into Celebrityville. And don't get it twisted. I am not stuck on celebrities. I have my few that I like, but for the most part, I don't get in their business. I prefer to live my own life and stay out of other people's drama. But celebrity breakups are always news catching. And one of them really surprised me. I know. In this world, nothing should surprise anyone, but this one did. I'm speaking of Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker. People know Todd from The Real Housewives of Atlanta because until her, we had never heard of him. As for Kandi, she started out with the group Escape in the 90s, and she and her TV producer husband have split after 11 years together. Kandi announced their separation back in November, saying, after deep thought and a lot of prayer, I've made the decision to move forward with a divorce. The couple have 2 children, Ace and Blaze. Divorce is hard. I don't know whose fault it was, nor do I care. It could be both parties. But I wish them a happy and healthy 2026. Now, Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon have been divorced for years, but I am a lamb. That's right. I'm a Mimi fan. And I love the Christmas pictures that she took with her kids without Nick Cannon. Leave it to Mimi to keep Christmas classy. I hope she has a good 2026 as well. On to more celebrity breakups. Lori Loughlin and her husband Massimo Giannulli. Well. They announced their split on October 2nd, and they've been together for 27 years. Why did this catch my eye? I know Lori from Full House. She played Aunt Becky, and she also got caught up in a school scandal years ago for paying for her daughter to get into college. Ouch. Now, here in the U.S., my friends, that is a no-no. It's illegal. And Lori did go to jail for a whopping, get this, 2 months. I guess crime doesn't pay, but when you're rich and you're a certain, you get a slap on the wrist. I'm not being messy, folks. Were she black, she would have still been in jail. But that's a story for another day. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban split up after 20 years of marriage. This also was a shocker to me. I've watched a lot of Nicole's movies, and I think she's a great actress. According to E! News, the separation was one-sided, and Nicole wanted to stay together. I don't know what happened there, but I wish her the best in 2026. Rapper Akon and Tamika Thiam have split, and they almost made it to their 29th anniversary. God, what is it with people splitting up after all these years? Well, one thing is for certain and two things are for sure. If she's been with him for that long, she's going to get half of everything he has. Good luck to her in 2026. And that concludes my little take on celebrity breakups. There are more, but I really don't care about them. Moving on, guys. It is New Year's Eve, and of course, we're going to get into some yummy recipes. But before I do that, let me tell you, my 9th novella, Mayman Paradox Book 1, releases tomorrow. You guys, grab your copy. I'm telling you, you're going to love the story of King Jonah. As Black people say in America, I put my foot in it, and that means it's darn good. You can pick it up at Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Amazon, or wherever you buy books from. Now, let's get to the food, baby. Here are some yummy recipes you can make for New Year's Eve. And this one, I have all the ingredients, so I think I'm going to try it. It is shrimp scampi pasta. To make this yummy recipe, you'll need 1 16-ounce package of linguine, 4 tablespoons of butter, 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 2 shallots, finely diced, 2 cloves of garlic, minced. Now, this is optional. You can add 1 pinch of red pepper flakes. I don't like spice, so I'm not going to put that in there. 1 pound of shrimp, peeled and deveined. 1 pinch of kosher salt and black pepper. A half cup of dry white wine. The juice of 1 lemon. A 1/4 cup of fresh parsley, finely chopped. And I actually do have that in my fridge. Thank God. And that is it. Of course, if you know how to boil water, you're going to cook the linguine for 6 to 8 minutes until almost tender. Drain it well. Melt 2 tablespoons of butter with 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a large skillet over medium heat. Now you're going to cook the shallots, garlic, and red pepper flakes until the shallots are translucent. That should take 3 to 4 minutes. Season your shrimp with salt and pepper and cook it until it's just pink. And you'll cook that from 2 to 3 minutes. Remove the shrimp from the skillet and keep it warm. Now you're going to pour white wine and lemon juice into the skillet and bring it to a boil. Be sure to scrape all the brown bits from the bottom of the pan. Now you'll melt the remaining 2 tablespoons of butter and stir in the remaining 2 tablespoons of olive oil and bring to a simmer. Toss the linguine, shrimp, and parsley in the butter mixture until it's coated. Season with salt and pepper and drizzle with about a teaspoon of olive oil to serve. Serve hot and enjoy. We are definitely having that for New Year's Eve. A good substitute if you don't have white wine is chicken broth. All right, that wraps up that recipe. Let's try one more. This is one of my all-time favorites, Swedish meatballs. Now, these are different from the Christmas meatballs that I make with the grape jelly and the pineapple juice. If you've had those, you know they are bomb. Now let's dive into this recipe. You'll need 2 slices of day-old white bread crumbled, a half cup of heavy cream, 1 teaspoon of butter, 1 small onion minced, 2/3 of a pound of ground beef, and 1/3 pound finely ground pork, 1 large egg. We have a couple of optional ingredients. That's 1 tablespoon of brown sugar and 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1/4 cup of chicken broth, 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and 2 cups of beef broth, and a half 8-ounce container of sour cream. That's a lot of ingredients, but these are so worth it. You're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Place the breadcrumbs into a small bowl and mix in the cream. Allow the cream to absorb into the breadcrumbs. Meanwhile, you're going to melt 1 teaspoon of butter in a skillet over medium heat. Cook and stir the onions until they are light brown. That should take about 10 minutes. And transfer the onions into a mixing bowl. You're going to mix ground beef, ground pork, the egg, brown sugar, salt, black pepper, nutmeg, allspice, ginger, and onion into the mixture. Then you're going to lightly mix the breadcrumbs and cream. That's what gives the meatballs a velvety smooth texture. Then you're going to melt 1 tablespoon of butter in a large skillet over medium heat. To make the meatballs, you're going to pinch off 1.5 tablespoons of meat, form them into balls, and then place the meatballs into the skillet. Make sure to turn them often until they're all brown. That should take about 5 minutes. The insides of the meatballs will still be pink. Place the meatballs into a baking dish, pour in the chicken broth, and cover with foil. You're going to bake these in the oven until the meatballs are tender. This is going to take about 40 minutes. Add the meatballs to a serving dish. You're going to pour what's left in the pan drippings, into a saucepan over medium heat. And you're going to whisk in the flour until the drippings are smooth. You're making a gravy now. Whisk in enough beef broth to make about 2.5 cups of liquid. You're going to bring the gravy to a simmer. Be sure to whisk it consistently until it's thick, and that should take about 5 minutes. Be sure to whisk in the sour cream. Season with salt and black pepper, and pour the gravy on the meatballs. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite comfort foods, but I'm not going to make them for New Year's Eve. Well, people, that's all I have for episode 89, and I hope you enjoyed it. I know 2025 was very rough for some of us, but let's keep hope alive. I told one of my artists this: as long as we're alive, hope lives. And I firmly believe that. So people, it's not the weekend, it's the middle of the week. But I still want you to be good to yourselves. Be easy, and I will be back in the new year with more stories. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.